Now, Android phones are known for having the worst camera quality.
Android phones have bad
Android
cameras.
Do
so
Android cameras actually suck?
And it's almost became a meme over the past recent years that if you have an Android phone, your camera quality is automatically terrible. So, in response to that, I have a challenge for you. I have recorded 2 different video clips of the same subject, one from my 5-year-old Android phone and another from a cinema camera. Tell me if you notice a difference. Did you notice a difference? So, camera A was the Samsung Galaxy S10 Plus, and camera B was the Samsung Galaxy S10 Plus. Yup, I used the same camera for both of those videos. So first things first, I'm gonna go over why Samsung phones have a reputation in having terrible camera quality. The reason why is because there are so many of these Samsung devices across the market. On the other hand, there aren't that many iPhones. Apple only comes out with a couple each year, and different social media apps on Android phones are simply not optimized for each device, so they all get a cookie cutter version of the app, which means lower camera quality and all that, and Apple phones get a version that's tailored for each device. So yeah, this is how I understand it. So the reason why the built-in camera app on a Samsung phone is still not the greatest is because it doesn't allow you to control the post-processing aspect of your video, and the built-in camera app automatically adds in sharpness, noise reduction, and other post-processing effects to try to improve the image. But then the video just ends up looking very digital and not very good at all. Even if I record in 4K in the built-in camera app, it still looks pretty bad because of, first of all the post-processing, and also because 4K is still a very low bitrate of only 40 megabits per second. So I began trying out different third-party camera apps in hopes of removing the camera limitations. So the first application that I've discovered is an application called MotionCam, and I've made a video about MotionCam up here. Basically, MotionCam is an application that allows you to film raw video on your Android phone. And what raw video is it's basically uncompressed data from your camera that's saved in a lossless or mezzanine format, which looks way more natural and true to life. And I actually have tried out the Pro version of MotionCam. Now the Pro version of MotionCam I think is around $18 now. What? And I did try it out. It was not as good as I thought it would be. Alright, so this is the first video I'm taking with the MotionCam Pro application. The exporting times were super slow, so I refunded the application immediately. But don't let this deter you from getting MotionCam Pro, as this phone is not on the supported devices list. So I looked for different applications. Another app I found is called MC Pro 24fps, which is actually more expensive than MotionCam Pro. It's about $24 I think on the Google Play Store. And MC Pro 24fps is another prosumer digital camera application that allows you to get so much more control over your video than even the Pro mode in the built-in camera app. It allows you to turn off different digital post-processing effects such as sharpness, noise reduction, vignette correction, and the whole 9 yards. And assuming you have GPU processing turned off, it actually allows you to record in 10-bit H.265 video files up to 500 megabits per second, which is insane. But you can also turn the quality all the way down to 2 megabits per second. So you just gotta sort of find a balance there. And this removes the burden of ultra-high bitrate raw videos, and it already allows you to get extremely high quality videos. But what if I told you that there was a way to maximize the quality of your camera? Now, after playing with low dynamic range videos, I found that the highlights are being clipped by the sensor, but most of the time you cannot bring the clipped highlights down. And increasing the bit depth of the video from 8 bits to a higher bit depth like 10 bits or 12 bits can sort of improve the clipping of the highlights, but not by very much. But what about the shadows? Normally, shadows get crushed, and when you try to bring them up, it seems like I'm getting limited not by the camera sensor, but by the bit depth of the video. But it seems like the sensor is still picking up data in the shadows. Thankfully, there is a feature in MC Pro 24fps that allows you to add a brightness curve and allows you to bring up the darks. And the real advantage to doing this is that you get to preserve your shadows and highlights. So yes, this is something that I have discovered myself, but I'm sadly not the first person to discover it. It's a small little tactic called expose to the left, where people would make their shadows as close to the noise floor of the sensor as possible, which basically means underexposing by 1 or 2 stops on your camera, and then correcting for it in post-processing. There are a few problems with this though, and the first problem is that you cannot increase the ISO higher than the lowest that your phone supports, in my case ISO 50, because then the noise floor of your sensor becomes way too noticeable. And the second problem is that you cannot turn on other post-processing effects, such as vignette correction or noise reduction, because it will just look terrible. There will be horrible color banding because it will require the GPU in your phone to add those effects, which do not support higher bit depths than 8-bit. You also cannot really do this on 8-bit footage because, well, there are fewer colors, and if you try to bring up the darks, then you will see the color banding really bad, just like in the clip I just showed. So here are more videos I've taken with it.
Oh my god, that's so cool. Oh my god!
So yeah, it looks extremely good, and I think that MC Pro 24fps is a really nice application to have on any Android phone, as it unlocks a very good amount of dynamic range and capability from your camera sensor that you wouldn't otherwise have without taking up gigabytes and gigabytes of space. There is no raw filming in this app. In my experience, it's only H.264 and H.265, but it's certainly way better than recording with the built-in camera app. Now, if you want to improve the film look of your video even further, I'd recommend checking out the sponsor of today's video, which is Dehancer. Dehancer allows you to add many filmic effects like film grain, noise, halation, and more. It's a film look emulation plugin that you can get in many different video editing programs such as DaVinci Resolve, Final Cut Pro, and Premiere Pro. There's even a Dehancer application that you can get on your phone, which is pretty cool, and you can get 10% off using the link in the description.